and welcome to another session of Let's Learn German. I hope you revised the contents of the previous sessions and you are ready to learn something new. If you remember, in the previous sessions we did the third case called the dative case, which is also called the indirect object case. Now let us do another concept in dative, which is the possessive article. You are already familiar with the concept of possessive article. You know that possessive article is used to show the possession of a noun by another noun. So we know that how possessive article changes its form from nominative to accusative in all the pronouns. Now let us look at the ending of the possessive article in dative. Now let us look at the pronouns here, which are ich, du, es, sie, sie, wir, ihr. Well, you are already familiar with these pronouns and you already know that certain pronouns like ich, du, es, sie belong to the singular case as well as the sie here, which is written with the big S, and also small z, which is the z here, as well as the z here, wir, ihr belong to the plural part. Now let us look at the possessive article of these pronouns in dative. For masculine we have the possessive article meinem, for feminine we have the possessive article meiner, for neutral we have the possessive article meinem, and for plural we have the possessive article meinen. You know that for ich we make the possessive article with mein, and if you remember from the previous tables of dative, the ending am is also here. So if we have the article there, when it converts to dative, it becomes dem. In the same way, mein becomes meinem. In the same way, die becomes there in dative, so meiner becomes meiner. Neutral mein from nominative becomes meinem to dative, and meiner, which is in plural nominative, becomes meinen in dative plural. The same rule applies to all the other possessive article. For example, for du we have deinem, for feminine deiner, for neutral deinem, and for plural deinen. For masculine and as well as for neutral pronouns, we have seinem, seiner, seinem, seinen. Here for the feminine singular pronoun as well as for the plural pronoun in the third person, we have ihrem, ihrer, ihrem, ihren. And for the sie here, which is the second person singular, and the sie here, which is second person plural, we have ihrem, ihrer, ihrem, ihrer. Also at this place I would like to remind you again that the size of I is dependent on the size of S. If S is small, I is small. If S is big, I is also big. And for the pronoun wir, we have the possessive article unserem, unserer, unserem, and unseren. And for ihr, we have eurem, eurer, eurem, euren. Now if you see, the ending for all the masculine possessive article, as you know, is the same, and it is same for the neutral article also. So we have meinem and meinem in for the ich, deinem and deinem for du, and for and s we have seinem here as well as seinem here, and for sie and sie also we have ihrem and ihrem, and for here also we have ihrem and ihrem, and for wir we have unserem, unserem, and for ear we have eurem and eurem. Also, for the feminine article we have the ending er. So, for ich we have meiner, for du deiner, for eres seiner, for sie ihrer, for sie ihrer with capital I, for wir we have unserer, and for ihr also we have eurer. And if you see, for plural we have the ending an or en, which is common for all the possessive article here. For example, meinen, deinen, seinen, ihren, ihren with capital I, unseren, euren. Now, to start with the example, please look at this sentence number 1. Was schenkst du Bruder zum Geburtstag? Now, we know that the verb schenken includes a dative here, and also we have the nominative. So, we have to first write the dative possessive article, which is based on the pronoun du, and for the dative possessive article here would be deinem Bruder zum Geburtstag. Now, let us look at sentence number 2. Wir geben Lehrerin die Hausaufgaben. Here we have to write the possessive article based on the pronoun wir, and it is unserer. Why do we write unserer? Because it is die Lehrerin, and in dative you know die becomes there, and the possessive article also takes the ending. So, unserer becomes unserer. Here in sentence number 3, sie schreibt Kindern eine Karte. Now, here again we write the possessive article in dative based on the pronoun, which is ihren. Now, we wrote ihren because here we have the dative object in plural, which is marked by n, Kindern, children, and here we know in possessive article the plural ending is an or n, as you can see. So, we write ihren. Now, let us look at sentence number 4. Zeigt ihr Eltern die Stadt? Here we have the pronoun ihr, and we know that with ihr we make the possessive article in dative euren. Why? Because we have here Eltern, which means parents, in plural, and the dative ending in plural for the article is n or an, as you know. Now, let us look at sentence number 5. Meine Mutter erzählt Kindern ein Märchen. Now, here meine Mutter, which means my mother. Now, here we do not have a pronoun, so we have the noun, and we can easily deduce that meine Mutter erzählt meinen Kindern, my children, a fairy tale. Now, my mother narrates a fairy tale to my children. Now, here we have deduced that the answer is meinen based on the possessive article which is given here, which is the accusative. Now, before we finish, let us mark the other parts, other cases in this sentence. So, we have in the first sentence was schenkst du, which is nominative, deinem Bruder, that is dative, and we have the accusative was. Now, in sentence number 2, we have wir as nominative, we have unsere Lehrerin als dative, and we have die Hausaufgaben als accusative. In sentence number 3, we have sie as nominative, we have ihren Kindern as dative part, and eine Karte as accusative. In sentence number 4, we have nominative, the pronoun ihr, euren Eltern as dative, and die Stadt as accusative. Now, in sentence number 5, we have meine Mutter, which is nominative, we have meinen Kindern, which is dative, and ein Märchen, which is accusative. Hello and welcome to another session of Let's Learn German. I hope you revise the Now let us do an exercise where the students would write the answers and also mark the cases in each of the sentences, and then we would see if the answers are right or wrong. Now let us look at the answers given by the students. Here, if you see, the first student wrote the correct possessive article meinen based on the pronoun ich, and it is the possessive article in plural. Also, the second student correctly marked the nominative here, which is ich, dative, which is meinen Kindern, and einen Atlas, which is the accusative. In second sentence, the student correctly wrote the possessive article of dative here ihren, deducing it from the noun die Professorin, which is sie, which takes the possessive form ihren, and the other student correctly wrote or marked the nominative here for the subject, ihren Studenten as dative and ein Experiment as accusative. In sentence number 3 also, here the student correctly deduced that from meinem should be the answer and wrote it here in the dative case, and also the other student correctly underlined the nominative and the dative as well as the accusative here. Also, as I have told you earlier, accusative need not be a noun, it can be also a sentence which contains a noun like here, or just a verb. In sentence number 4, the student correctly understood that from pronoun wir the possessive articles needs to be written, which she wrote, and the other student correctly marked the nominative, which is wir here, dative, which is Nachbarn, and accusative, which is unser Auto. In sentence number 5 also, the student correctly identified that from the third person singular pronoun Z, the possessive article needs to be made based on the noun here, which is Tochter, die Tochter. In dative becomes der Tochter and the possessive article becomes ihrer. And the student wrote also the correct parts of the sentence here, which is Nominativ for sie, Dativ ihrer Tochter and ein Spielzeug, which is Akkusativ. Here also in sentence number 6, the student correctly deduced from the personal pronoun that the possessive article needs to be seiner because it is dative, and the other student correctly marked the parts of the sentences here where is the nominative, seiner Familie is the dative and Schokolade is accusative. Now, before we wind up, let us do another exercise as a part of the revision for possessive article in dative. This is not like the previous exercise. This here is the exercise which consists of nouns and verbs, and we are supposed to make correct sentences which includes possessive article in dative. Now, let us look at sentence number 1. Here we have 4 elements: Eltern, ich, einen Fernseher and the verb schenken. Now, you know we have the nominative here in the form ich. So, we start the sentence with ich, then we need the verb which we conjugate according to the pronoun, which you know is the form ich schenke. Now, we need the dative element here. Now, you know the dative element here is Eltern, which we write, and we need the possessive article for that. Now, possessive article here can be deduced from the pronoun. So, the possessive form of ich is mein and the dative is in plural meinen, Eltern, and here we have einen, which is already a signal for accusative. So, we write einen Fernseher. Again we have 4 elements: Ascha, Freundin, eine E-Mail, schreiben. Now, here first of all we have to locate who is the nominative. Here we have Ascha as the nominative or the subject. So, we begin the sentence with Ascha. Now, at the second place, you know we always need the verb. We have the verb schreiben here, we conjugate the verb, and we know that we conjugate the verb according to the third person singular here, which is Ascha. That is why we have the ending T. Now, we need the dative element here. We have the dative noun here, which is Freundin, which is a female Freund. So, we need the personal pronoun sie, and from personal pronoun sie we deduce the possessive article ihr, and in dative ihre becomes ihrer Freundin. Now, we need the accusative here, which is eine E-Mail. Now, let us look at sentence number 3. Here again we have 4 elements: Kinder geben wir Bücher. Now, here we need first of all the nominative, which is wir. We need the verb at the second position, which is geben here. Now, we need the dative element. What is the dative element here? Kinder as the noun. And how do we form the possessive article now? For the possessive article, we need the pronoun, which is wir here, and from wir we take the possessive article unser, and since you know in dative we have always the ending n for noun. So, we have Kindern and also the ending unseren Kindern, and here we have the Bücher, which is the accusative. So, As you can see, constructing sentences from just words in dative using the possessive article is not at all difficult. Earlier, you did an exercise where you wrote the correct possessive article in the blank. In this exercise, we saw how we can make sentences also. So, always try to construct sentences apart from writing the correct answer in the blanks. Both ways of learning are equally beneficial and as well as interesting. So, I hope this session was interesting for you. Please revise the contents of the previous session and also learn the conjugation of the verbs, the meaning of the verbs, the nouns, the plural forms as well as the articles, and also the articles in dative, accusative and nominative, and also revise all the contents from the previous session. And as I always say, auf Wiedersehen, tschüss.